Turning Away from Industrial Farming: Sustainable Farms and the Uniform Solutions by Sydney, Danielle, Andrea, Hunter, Section AB.
Causes of industrial farming. A few direct causes of industrial farming are competitive food pricing, a growing global population, and technological advancements. Producing commodities such as meat and milk at the lowest possible price became a primary factor in striving for agricultural ingenuity. This ingenuity surfaced in the form of technological advancements like synthetic fertilizers, chemical pesticides, and high yield crops, which allowed for mass production of agricultural goods. This was coupled with the growing global population, which put pressure on producing more food as a whole, and industrial farming was seen as a gateway to do so. Some government policies were also put in place, which indirectly caused the rise of industrial farming by creating subsidies for non forest land use that incentivized even more agricultural expansion.
Okay, economic impacts of industrial farming. Large-scale industrial farming requires more resources such as water, synthetic fertilizers, herbicides and pesticides, and oil and gasoline to maintain itself over time, therefore generating more costs. For example, U.S. farmers on average spend nearly $8,200 on oil and gasoline per year, generating high fuel costs. Non-sustainable practices on industrial farms cause long-term prices to rise as inefficient watering practices are used, synthetic and harmful pesticides are used, and oil and gas-powered machines are used to maintain farms. These practices are not only not environmentally sustainable, but also not economically sustainable.
Environmental impacts. Industrial farming practices make plots unusable over time because they do not properly restore the soil. These practices also make it harder for plants to grow. These practices include overplanting, which degrade the soil over time, synthetic fertilizers that cause runoff and don't replenish the soil, and disrupting habitat.
Social impacts. Because of industrial farming, there is a higher crop yield. However, industrial farming interferes with social and financial well-being of communities. For example, the air pollution caused by machinery and dirt particles harms humans and animal health. To add on, working conditions are not ideal for those who work in or near the farms. As for finances of the people, small local businesses cannot compete with bigger businesses.
Small-scale urban farming and their practices solve industrial farming issues, and here are some of the solutions to combat harmful industrial farming practices. Some economic solutions to industrial farming would be to eliminate the use of synthetic fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides, as well as using drip water irrigation systems to lower water costs, and avoid using heavy machinery to cut down on fuel and maintenance costs.
Environmental solutions. Small-scale farms focus on keeping the soil healthy and biodiversity intact. The practices that small-scale farms like the UW farm do are things like crop rotation, cover crop, and compost, which are considered the 3 C's of sustainable agriculture. Not using artificial fertilizer or herbicides and pesticides, and already using harmed or affected areas to plant on are also practices that small-scale farms do. These practices are alternatives to harmful practices and maintain long-term soil health by adding nutrients back to soil and increasing biodiversity. The UW farm highly prioritizes building up soil and soil health because it is on top of a capped landfill. One thing to mention that the UW farm doesn't have is livestock. Many small-scale farms do this. Many small-scale farms have livestock as part of the process of fertilizing and other farm maintenance, like Skyroot Farm, using chickens to maintain a part of its site.
Social solutions. Improved quality of food. Due to the increased attention and slower pace of small-scale urban farming, the dirt is healthier, thus the food is healthier. Additionally, there is less use of pesticides and fertilizers. For example, the UW farm uses cover crop to add nitrogen back into the soil. Urban-scale farming allows for meaningful involvement of the surrounding community. For example, the UW farm involves students of the university. Furthermore, there is student outreach. In fact, the UW farm is almost completely student-run, which allows for education and future career development opportunities. Thank you for watching.